Welcome to Politically Challenged show.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even think right now, man. I mean, we had a police officer on the show, and it reminded me of my grandpappy. This is what he wore on his last day on the job.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
highly decorated
Oh my god.
police officer. He was. It was just sad seeing a cop today on the show, and all those memories coming back.
But assholes.
All these memories coming
What
back.
the fuck?
I'm trying to honor the memory of my grandpappy. But yeah, it's good to remember the fallen heroes,
You're an idiot.
even though it's
Oh my
from another
God.
country. You know, it's not
This is insane. I'm sorry.
puppet talk.
Hello, I puppet. I talk. Nerves and in my butt. Butt. Na butt. Na butt. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome to Politically Challenged.
My hands up his ass.
Nav, why are you wearing a...
Oh, I identify as a woman. Watch the episode.
All the music, even if you're tired, I'll make you dance, I'll make you make sense. Now you're feeling brave, you stupid cunt. Thank you for the service. Ratings decline. Hello, hello, You're a bad sign to everyone. You're a bad sign to everyone. You're a bad sign to everyone. You're a bad sign to everyone.
Welcome to Politically Challenged. In this new edition...
What the hell? Did you
Yeah.
change it up?
Yeah, I didn't want to
Nice.
continue.
Yeah.
I wanted to change it up a little bit.
Because when you do it like that, welcome to it
I know.
sucks. It really sucks. So thanks for changing it up. All right. Go. Oh, you were saying. Sorry.
Let's get to the news.
Let's get to the news. PC24 News, our news outlet people. But thanks to them for sponsoring us. We have to tell the news in return for their sponsorship. O.J. Simpson is dead after reportedly battling with prostate cancer. When asked about this, his doctor said that is not true and that he never examined O.J.'s prostate. He tried to examine O.J.'s prostate, but the glove didn't fit.
Well, due to a rising number of break-ins and car theft, Toronto police have asked residents to leave their car keys by the front door to avoid home invasion. Additionally, they have asked that you also leave your younger children by the door in case the car thief turns out to be a pedophile.
Oh my God, that's in poor taste. I can't believe you said that.
I can't believe somebody
Can't believe
wrote
you've done
that.
this. Yo, speaking of pedophiles, when I was a kid, I went to the park with my younger cousin,
Mhm.
and a pedophile actually tried to kidnap me.
Actually,
Actually tried to
oh
kidnap
my
me.
God.
But he couldn't because I was too heavy, right? So fortunately, he took my cousin.
Fortunately.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since, but yeah, I got lucky there.
Okay.
Anyway.
Toronto police ask residents to leave car keys at the front door to avoid break-ins. If you live in an apartment building, they've asked that you write your unit number on the windshield of your car so the thieves don't accidentally break into the wrong unit looking for your car keys.
Yeah, be considerate. Speaking of Toronto police, did you hear about this? Toronto police advised residents to leave their car keys at the front door and let thieves take their cars in what has been yet another unsuccessful attempt by City Hall to increase the number of TTC passengers.
Well, come on, like we've been criticizing the Toronto police, but you know the contrast that this news outlet has drawn with the Toronto police and the Florida police is this. Florida police officers completed delivery after arresting delivery driver. It was a grocery delivery. Well, I guess that makes up for all the killing of unarmed black men.
I don't know. Oh,
Today's guest is a detective.
that's why.
According to Mr. Michael Summer, being a cop is easy to do and the most difficult to be good at. He has helped countless people and chairs outreach programs that help a supportive and inclusive community. He also appears in Ezra Shirley's documentary web series Outlaw Land. Besides this, he is also an avid Dungeons & Dragons player, as well as Fallout 4, Dying 2, and Skyrim, amongst other games, which is my personal favorite fact about him.
Good.
Welcome, Mr. Michael.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mike, thank you for coming to the show, buddy. Thanks for sitting through that painful weekend update type of, our intro. I appreciate you. And yeah, man, I can't wait. I have so many questions to ask you. But first of all, why don't you tell me a little bit about what got you started in being a police officer, and throughout your career, like, have you ever had a change of heart, and how do you feel about being in public service right now?
I actually fell into it by accident. I was playing basketball. That was my thing for the longest time, and played pro. Injuries kind of derailed that. I was a teacher before I got on. I was teaching, a supply teacher. It was kind of like a kindergarten. Well, I wasn't a cop at the time, but kindergarten cop, because I'm 6'9", and I had kindergarten classes, grade 1, grade 2. It was hilarious. Loved being a teacher. It was tough to get into at that point. I got accepted, but went on a couple ride-alongs after I came back from overseas. And
Just for fun?
Yeah, just had some friends in the service and went on some ride-alongs. It was really cool. Put my application in and got hired and haven't looked back.
Wow. So you said when you came back from overseas, were you teaching overseas or you
Playing basketball.
Oh, playing basketball. Where? Where did you?
Spain.
incredible.
Yeah, I was playing.
Wow. So pro, like
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah, pro. Yeah, pro.
Do you
Whoa,
speak
that's
Spanish?
crazy.
Yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
See?
Un poquito.
Wow, what is that? What does that mean?
Sí means yes.
It means look.
That's so cool.
Un poquito means
Juego baloncesto y
heard that.
España. So, 3 años.
Nice.
that just made him sexier.
So yeah, I agree. I'm trying not to speak because
I know.
I'm going to say so much.
It's so incredible to me. So your first passion was basketball, right? It was very interesting to me. And knowing your personality, Mike and I have been friends for a little while, and I know him and his soul and what a good person he is, and actually is wearing it right on his shirt. I'd love to know more about Arrowhead Coffee.
Oh, yeah. Arrowhead Coffee. They're a veteran-run company. Phenomenal coffee. Some of the best coffee that you've had. We like to support. My wife was in the military, and she's a police officer now too. But obviously the military are very important to me, and we support veteran-run companies. And yeah, I wasn't doing this on purpose too. I just grabbed it. It's like my favorite shirt, and I came in. I was like, oh wait,
Did you bring some coffee? Because this sucks.
yeah, you know what?
Coffee that
I
we have
should
here
I'll
is
get you
really
some.
bad.
I will
Thank
get you
you.
some.
Thank you so much. But because I can't show up to that place, probably because it's like they'll sniff the criminal on me.
No, that's
Not
fine.
the veteran place. No. What are the most challenging? What is nowadays on your mind with today's social political climate and the divisiveness amongst everybody and the division that things have created and the polarization? What is on your mind? What is your main concern and that we are overseeing?
Honestly, the lack of communication, and I think that is the 100% the biggest thing that's happening out there is that when you talk about polarizing is and I'll go to policing here, in order for policing to actually work in the communities to be safe, you need the community and police working together. Like you can't have it. You can't have that line that just divides it, right? And right now, unfortunately, is that people aren't talking, and it's for everything you can go to, whether it be policing, if you want to talk about, I won't get anything into transgenderism, like in, in sports and women's locker rooms.
Yep.
Like, these are not easy conversations for anyone to have, but we need to have those conversations.
Yes.
If we're not having those conversations, or you're saying, you know, you're on my side, you don't agree with me, so it's us against you, just because we don't agree. And that's the kind of stance we have. So again, human beings, police officers are human beings. You're a human being. You're a human being. If we're not talking anymore and we're just yelling at each other from across, that's what we have right now. We have segregation. It's breeding segregation right now, where, you know, you have the police here, you have the community here.
Yeah.
You've got in the communities, you have different, everyone's like lining up with people that look like themselves and talk and think, and it's separate bubbles with everyone screaming at each other. And it's like, wow, how do we talk anymore? And that's the biggest thing for me. Communication is broken down. It's bad. It's very, very bad. Right,
You know what's fascinating about what you say is because when I think about it and I'm looking at it from that perspective, because I ask myself this question: who is responsible here, right? Who is responsible for communication? And when you look at it deeply, you can blame the politician, you can blame the people themselves, you can point fingers every which way, but really, the media is the communicator of to people and of people outwardly, right? Is it the narrative, changing the narrative, or adding fuel to a flame that perhaps for other purposes and incentives are being, like, gaslit?
Do you know where it starts?
No,
Where all this starts? In the home. Families, parents teaching their kids the right way to live. And it was like I had a phenomenal family. Like my dad, single dad. My mom took off when I was young.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't have to feel bad. I'm better off for it. But when he got remarried, that was my mom. Like, she took care of me. But they instilled in me, everyone's equal, inclusivity, like no one, whether it be, race, anything, like this is everyone gets treated the same. And this was like at a very early age. Kids aren't born racist. No one's born racist, right? They're taught how to hate. They're taught how to, look to people who look like you, and those are the only people you can trust. And, people say this and, oh, don't listen to them, just be over here with us. And this is how, I don't even want to get into gangs. Like, this is how gangs get people. They say they're looking at a kid that has, no father in the home, and coming and saying, hey, we'll be your family. We'll take you in, right? We'll give you that sense.
And that's always a saying, family. It's always about family, and they use that term a lot.
Family. But again, if you have parents, and it doesn't matter. And I'll be very clear about this. It doesn't matter if they're same-sex family or anything. As long as you have parents that care about you and teach you the right morals, you got a chance.
Yeah.
You have a chance of doing well. And it's funny that you say with the media, like, you should be able to see through that crap. You know that the media is gonna, instill it. Again, the stuff that you see out there is intentionally made to divide us, to keep us divided, to keep the police as and the police officers. And I can throw this out there. The high majority of police officers, I'm talking like 90, in the high 90s, are excellent people. Yeah. And I know you took a couple shots at Toronto Police. It's a great service, right? A great service. They get a bad rep, Police right now are vilified, and they're seen as the enemy, and that's not true. Like, it's not true. There's human beings just trying to keep things safe, but there's so many, external factors that are coming
and pressure.
The pressure, right? The media. You make one mistake, you're over. Like,
I actually wanted to ask you about that. So a few of us, we come from, ethnically third world countries. And over there, the experience of dealing with police is fear. We see police, we hear them, anything. The first response is fear.
Yeah.
And over here, when you come to Canada, we're told, oh, go to them for help. They're here to help you. And so automatically there's this mistrust that subconsciously or unconsciously we have. Is that, like, how do you combat that as a cop and instill that trust within the community?
Well, you have to be better. Like each individual officer, when they go out there and they interact with people and they make decisions on the road, they have to understand that when you have that police across your chest, you are representing not only a profession, like you're representing every other man, woman that is there trying to be the best police officer. You are representing them. So we can have 100 phenomenal interactions. All it takes is one, just one, that's blown up on the media, and we are all painted with the same brush. And it's funny, why do you think things like CRA fraud, why do you think people are getting bilked out of all this money? Because they do not trust the police. It's mostly the people that come from out of country. Like, you have immigrants that come in trying to, build a better life here, and they get targeted by vile, which I think there's a special layer in hell for people who like go after seniors and people who, are new to the country. There's a layer of hell there that they belong. But that's how it is. They don't.
He's in charge of it.
Oh, I'd love to be. That's what happens, is that they prey on you not trusting. So when someone calls up and threatens you, saying they're from the CRA or they're from the government or the RCMP, people think, well, that's the way it was where I came from, so I better pay in Bitcoin or go get Apple, cards to pay your fine. Wow. It makes no sense, but the fear overrides rational thought.
Yeah.
And that's how they get them. And it's sad. I feel horrible when I used to respond to those calls. And I would go there and the person has lost like $60,000. And in my head, my ego jumps up and I'm like, how could you be so stupid in my head? But then I take a second, go back and go, well, hold on a second. Here's the factors. They're victims. That's who they are. And when I think about it that way, it changed my perspective. Huge. They're not stupid. They were targeted. And the fear and mistrust that they had from their home came over here with them, and someone preyed on them. It's very sad. It's very sad. Those people need to be helped. But again, it's hard.
So education kind of goes, like, my takeaway is that goes both ways. Like, for victims to be more educated and informed about surroundings and more aware, learn about these things, and also education internally within the force, and training as to be more sensitive and understanding, try to assess the situation a little more deeply and not to rush into judgment.
Education is, and it's funny that you said that, because education right now is the key. Let me tell you this. Do you know how many interactions with police are amazing, that nothing's wrong, that everything's good, no one's shot, like you said,
That's
unarmed
true.
people? Do you know how many?
Well, no, actually, because there is every day, probably. Otherwise, like...
Okay, well, you would think about it, but...
Doesn't make the news.
It doesn't make the news, but what does make the news are the bad ones.
That's exactly right.
So people hear it all the time, but here's the thing. You're looking at in the high upper 99% of interactions between police and the public are perfectly fine. Do any of you ever think that?
No.
Probably not.
No, that never occurred.
It's the truth. When you look at the facts and the statistics that are held, that's the truth. So when you break it down into the small pieces of, how many times have Toronto officers or even officers in Ontario shot someone, right? It's very low. I know, and you probably remember it just happened on the news where they shot someone because the officer got stabbed, right? And that's the danger right now, is violence has gone up. So obviously you're going to have use of force
risk
is going to go up, and high risk scenarios for police officers is going to go up. But if a high 90% of interactions are really good, then what is everyone upset about? Like, police need to be better. We need to work hard to be better every day and work with the public and be better and make sure we're making good decisions, because, when we make a bad decision, sometimes someone can get really hurt.
Yeah.
And we can take away people's liberties. Yeah. Right? That's not, arresting someone is not something that should be taken lightly. And it is. It's taken very lightly right now, but it's not. So if what we're arguing right now is like a fraction of a percent of the time, that's an issue. That means people expect us as a police to be perfect. Have you ever heard one is too many?
Yes.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And you hear it. That's an argument people make. They'll say, well, if you have them, you're saying, well, 99% is good. Nah, one is too many. They're like, you're a moron.
It's just one is one.
Yeah, like what is, you think
One is
going to be perfect?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
No.
So my doctor says like one cookie is too many. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, you don't know, right?
Yeah, that's the same.
Right?
for you,
Right?
yeah, half is too many.
What? Well,
Yeah, you see another thing. Listen, I'm not
Right.
that body shamer, and I don't, and I wouldn't. If you truly were, if this was healthy, I would encourage, right? But
If this was
you want to laugh a little harder there, but
actually triggered.
you want to.
I can't go
Are
inside.
you
The point is,
enjoying
you know what's good about
Ezra's,
that though? Listen,
satire there?
yes.
that wasn't satire.
I think you're
I'm giving you
good
health
looking, man.
advice. I think so too. I think it's
you're
healthy.
Oh my God! I saw the lie in his eyes.
You can't.
I'm a great liar.
You can't see that.
No,
live.
don't worry. I had a team of doctors at one point. They were like,
I
"Yo,
know.
you need to lose weight," and then I fired them.
Actually, Mike, I had a question for you. Just because you mentioned, liberties, something triggered for me. I was watching the news yesterday, and they were talking about body cams versus no body cams, and this is something we had talked about previously as well.
Yep.
And they were saying now there is conversation around when we should use body cams, if they should be used at all, and to what extent. A lot of times when people have them, by people I mean cops in this case, when they have body cams, we need to regulate when they're turned on. And they said a lot of times people either don't turn them on because the conversation started off civil, and when they do turn it on for an otherwise civil conversation, they're like, "Oh, well, you're infringing on my privacy." So
The people like
yeah, the
saying.
people who are being who are speaking with the cops.
So it's
they're saying that
like,
this
turn
is
it
a privacy
off.
concern.
I don't want you to made your
Yeah, so
investment
there's
privacy.
like we
It's
want to police the police, and then when they're doing what we ask them, they're like, "Oh no, but this is against my privacy." So what are your thoughts on that?
Have you ever heard of the term sucking and blowing at the same time? Not in a rude way. I'm just saying like that.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Heard it. You can't.
That is what's happening. And I'll tell you right now, when you look at body cams, Toronto Police has body cams, but there's other services that don't. When people don't realize that body cams actually just protect the officers.
Oh yeah.
Like officers, it's proven right now, proven through statistics, and there's been a ton of investigation into this, that officers will do the same thing with a body cam on or not. People try to say, well, they don't have body cam on, so they do this crazy stuff. Listen, if they're going to do that, they're going to do that no matter what. They're going to find a way to turn their body cam off or something, which they're not allowed to do unless there's specific ways that they can turn their body cam off, right? If I won't get into all of them, but they have to justify doing it.
Right.
And it's there to protect, because if we're having an interaction and I think it's okay and I walk away and you hate police and now you say that I said something I didn't, right? Now I'm going, no, I didn't. Now you've just, again, there's that mistrust, because people will automatically
Assume.
about you. If you hear something about a cop, most people are like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, wow, really? Like maybe, there's bad officers out there. I'm not going to say there's bad Taco Bell employees. Like there's horrible.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I do love Taco Bell.
I fucking love that.
So do I.
No, but I was gonna say, have you ever gotten a compliment from a criminal?
Like earlier.
I've had I've had it, like people have commented on my height. People have commented on,
How tall are you?
6'9".
Sorry.
I've had a person walk in, and the moment they saw me, they literally gave me the Heil Hitler, nod thing.
Doesn't help your German, right?
And what's messed up is I was like, that's not nice. And they said, well, what's your background? I'm like, German. I was like, oh man. But so I got hit with that. I got someone that came in and saw me, and I understand how I look, a 6'9" white guy. And this person came in, and they looked at me and they're like, I see I'm gonna be dealing with the Grand Wizard today. And I was like, that's not nice. I'm like, so,
To be fair, that's amazing.
it was, it was, again, you're trying not to laugh. And I'm just in my head, I'm like, oh, you got me. That was a good one. That was fun.
Have you ever had criminal females hit on you?
Every once in a while. Every once in a while.
Nice.
I love it.
Why did I say nice?
I know
It's not good.
I don't expect it. I know I'm scary looking, so yeah, I don't.
It was so funny when Mike walked into the studio. We were sitting here setting up, and then all of a sudden we were joking around, and then Divya was like, "Oh, where is this guy, man? Oh, he's late. Cop, whatever."
Oh, hold on. No, the actual thing which I heard out there was fucking cops lie. Is what she said, because I said I'd be here at the time, which I was here at that
He
time.
was early.
I was early.
But he saw that sign on air, and he thought that we were recording, but we weren't. We were just fucking around. And then as soon as she said that, cops, the fucking lie. He showed up at the door and scared the living hell out of everybody.
Yeah. I screamed.
You did,
Yeah.
like a little baby.
I peed a little bit.
That was
To be
good.
fair, I
Good
said
time.
cops be lying, which is not any better.
I remember we did that. We did a documentary series together, Outlaw Land, which when we were interviewing you, you mentioned that because I asked a question, it was a surprise to me at a time where I asked you, how does this happen, the sex trafficking, with we're in a first world country like Canada, and then you mentioned that it's more prevalent than you think. They capture them with love.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind that it's not an old school, like they don't show up in snatch vans and
No, and again, like people see Taken, like people see those movies, and they see these documentaries, and you see, was it A Sound of Freedom?
yeah.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
You see those type of things, and is that shit happening? Yeah, it is. It's horrific. People think, oh, it's happening somewhere else, but it's happening here, and young, especially young women, are being lured away with love. And when you talk about the parents, they don't have the love. They have a bad upbringing. They got, parents who didn't care for them, abandoned them. These predators, and that's what they are. And again, I said the layer of hell.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a special layer of hell
Wow, yeah.
for predators who target, those type of, for human trafficking. But they capture them with love. They make them love them, and they walk literally into the open arms, willingly into the jaws of the beast. That's exactly what happens. And then it's over from there. And to get them out is very, very hard. And when someone does manage a victim, and that's what they are, victims of human trafficking, if they can become a survivor, right? If they can become a survivor, they have a chance. But unfortunately, it's very, very difficult. We live in a very, very high victim society. Everyone wants to be victimized. That's how you get more likes on I'm off all social media.
That's incredible.
I got rid of social media. I can't.
No, it's incredible. You say that from a cop point of view, because another subject that I interviewed for the documentary was Vanessa Tynes, and she's a sex trafficking survivor and a family lawyer, and she wrote a book, and she's actually going to be our one of our guests in the near future, and talk about this issue. And she was saying, because she considers herself a survivor, and she mentioned that there is a victimhood mentality, that for as long as it's a turn, and is a very hard shift to become from a victim to survivor. And I remember that you kind of touched on that too. She was saying it's not catching the pimp, for the lack of a better word, but rather getting a girl to really turn on the guy for good, and so that there be, it was fascinating.
But think about right now in society, how do you get the most likes?
Oh yeah.
Why do people go on to, onto social media and say, oh, I'm having a bad day, or this happened to me, or someone says, this happened to me, and someone will come in, yeah, this happened to me. The victim mentality, they want to be supported, and that's how they find it. It's so apathetic, and that's what I find about social media. It's so the support you're getting, it's not real support. That's why it's fleeting. That's why you need to keep going and keep getting more and more, because it's not enough, because it's not real. It's not real support you're getting online.
Yeah.
So how do you, and I you didn't mention this right now, but you had mentioned in the past, this dopamine fixes that people look for is what perpetuates the victim culture. How do you help people who are victimizing themselves for the dopamine fix versus how do you help people who are unfortunately actual victims who do need the help? How do you differentiate that?
Well, right now, I think the hardest thing that's happened, or the worst thing that's happened to everyone was the COVID lockdown. Like the COVID lockdown, for whatever reason that people were justifying it, saying that it had to be done at this time. The damage we're seeing right now that's happened, and it's bred this segregation because people were segregated from each other
And isolated to a great
segregated.
degree.
They were on in fishbowl think tanks online. You want to talk about turning a victim into a survivor? You have to be there for them. But more importantly, the preventative measure is the key, is that you have a stable household with love and support. You take time to treat your kids, properly, and hold them accountable and teach them those life lessons, so they're not just, hitting a wall and falling down and moving somewhere else. You want to teach them how to get back up, because that's the most important thing, right? Even if something horrific happens to you, bad shit's going to happen to you.
That's another thing, because when we talk about it, always starts in the family, from whether on the other side of the spectrum you're a victim or you're in the service, you're a human, right? So when you're going through these traumas and experiences, for normal people, you want to deal with it in a sane, like, therapy way, whatever. What are the what are the elements that are available to you guys? What are the things to first responders really that help them through traumatic events? Because it takes a lot more.
Oh yeah, we have high access to psychological services. We have internal support networks to support you. We have a lot of stuff that's flashy and
despite all those elements, still you see that cops have a very high suicide rate, or they have a very high alcoholism rate. Dentists as well, for some reason.
Do you know what cops fear more than anything? More than death?
More than death?
Yep.
Killing someone. No.
Well, it could be that.
Yeah.
Is being shamed. Like that, for them, losing their identity as a police officer. And like, let's say you go into a scenario where all you want to do is help people. And then you do something that is, you make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, okay, you made a mistake. But what if you did something that isn't really a mistake, but society today thinks is a mistake? And you get canceled and you get backlashed, and then your employer kind of moves away from you a little bit. That is what cops fear.
So how would you deal with that? How do you work with vulnerable people, and then people
Be vulnerable.
trying to get more attention? So for example, if Nav was, if you were to arrest Nav, and he says, I identify as a woman.
I think it's not an if, it's a when.
So let's do,
So
can we do like a role play?
just like you
I would
said,
like to see.
let's run an exercise here.
Whoa.
Run an exercise.
Run it.
But anyways, you will play a police officer.
Yep.
I will play a man who identifies as a woman.
Okay.
Who may have done something wrong.
Yep.
And we'll improvise a scenario, see how it goes, how a police officer reacts. Okay?
Are you game for that?
That's it, you're a woman now?
What'd I do?
So it's funny.
What did I do?
What
did I do?
There we go. And it's
What the fuck did I do? Why am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? I know my civilized rights. I know my civil rights. What did I do? I am identifying as a woman. I just went into the change room. That's where I should change.
So this right here, I'm obviously breaking character right now. But this right now is a very difficult situation for a police officer, right? Because it's very polarizing out there, the people on one side, people on the other. So you're plopping down an officer right in the middle
Crazy.
who has to put aside any personal things they have in order to respect the rights of the person that they're dealing with.
You want to know my pronouns?
Yes.
They're a fucked up police.
Yeah.
That's my pronouns.
That can't
What's
be
up?
a pronoun.
Someone has
Can
actually
it be?
said that to me.
No.
Someone has actually said to me when I asked them.
Well,
Sorry.
good.
Yeah.
They should have.
So
They should have.
You know what I find really funny about this situation? When people ask someone directly, hey, what are your pronouns? When would I ever need pronouns when talking directly to you? I wouldn't say, hey,
Oh, yeah,
Ezra,
that's true.
he. I would say you.
But it's so funny that people give it to you, like, they both, especially like if they care, they're like willingly, like,
But it's
Actually,
important.
that's
It's important to them. It's
important to them. That I get. But
It's a level of respect and identity that they crave, right? And if you respect and they ask you for it, like it's asking for it. It's not demanding. That's the issue, and that's where you'll get the polarizing, because you'll have people that say, "Wait, you can't tell me what to say," and the other person really just said it the wrong way. They should have said, "I'd really appreciate if you said this." That right there is
it's free communication.
it's communication, and we're talking.
I understand, yeah.
And that's right back to what we talked about.
Yeah.
We want communication. And again, I don't care. It's not important to me. My pronouns aren't important to me, but if they're important to someone else, we should be respecting that.
Yeah.
But again, you can't demand something of someone that you're not willing to
Yeah,
give. And
exactly.
respect is a two-way street. And it's funny, even his face right now, he's still in character right now.
But what did I do?
All right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, okay?
So you
And
went
am
to
I
the
being
wrong
arrested?
washroom. You
Am I
went to
being
the-
arrested?
Does he have a hair clip on?
Yeah.
Am
yeah,
I being arrested? I would like to go to a female jail, please.
Oh, that's a good point.
I wanna go to
so
a women's
let's say
jail.
he's like trespassed or whatever. You're like,
she, not he.
yeah, okay. She trespassed, and then you arrested him, right? She's like, I'm a she, and you're like, all right, you're a she. What do we got to do?
Gendered.
Thankfully,
yeah, how do you handle
thankfully, that is so far above my
Oh,
thing.
really?
That's
That's interesting.
way above. I don't deal
Deal
with
with
that. That is not anything.
But that is a real issue that has to be identified
But
for
again,
like what somebody else, right? They
100%.
deal with it.
That's way higher. That is, yeah. You're looking at like high level politics and discussions that are happening. A job of a police officer is not to engage in that. That's not our job.
No, but if he had to, like, for example, like somebody like that, like committed a crime and had to be taken to jail, you're not taking him to jail. You're just booking him. But somebody got to make a decision which jail this got to go to, right?
And here's the thing is, then you get the arguments on both sides, and it's not a what people would see as a black and white
Issue.
topic.
Yeah.
It's not in any way, shape, or form. It's and the problem is like we've talked about, is that if we're not talking about it and we're not trying to get some understanding, how are we going to fix it? You're just going to have people screaming on both sides again.
And then becoming more tribal.
And more polarized and more segregated. I hate segregation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it because, again, I thought we were past that. I thought we moved to a part where we're not saying we're more segregated now than we ever have been. And how did we do that? How did we get there?
And getting close to civil war. Did you see the new trailer for a new movie that came out? Civil War? It's a series on
People
Netflix.
think it's ridiculous. And they do. They're like, oh, that'll never happen.
It can't happen, huh?
Really?
Really? So you think it's possible? Actually.
100%. 100%.
It's not like plausible.
Do you know, right, you remember going, the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, I don't remember it, but I know of it.
I don't remember. I don't know how old you are.
I remember the Bay of Pigs. It was called the police station.
We're,
Nah.
as soon as
You
all
were
the
saying,
Bay, we're fighting out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's going to
just-
annihilate you.
Watch yourself, man.
Hey,
You're on your
I
own here.
identify as the one who left this fucking podcast early. I'm just going to leave much early.
You're on your own, Nav. I'm not
But the
helping you.
Cuban,
People don't realize how close the world was to nuclear war at that point.
and JFK saved it.
There's arguments on that side, but what I'm saying is that people don't realize how close we are all the time. You have the obviously what's happened with the conflict, with the conflict right now
In the
Israel
Middle
and
East
the
and-
Palestinians, with Hamas.
Yeah.
When you look at that right now, it's a powder keg. You got Russia, Ukraine. There's a lot, and all the rest of the crap that's
China
going
and
on.
Taiwan.
China
Like, I
and
feel like
Taiwan.
that's...
There's so much going on right now in the world, and people
And Trump right now, like, teaming up to... So he's going to come back, but Biden, the left, are not going to, like, let him go easy. Win is easy, so...
Well, and that's the thing, too, is that, when you look at it, whether or not you like Trump as a person, whether or not you
love
like Trump as
It's a beautiful song.
whatever. Yeah, that's funny. You couldn't even say it without laughing. But whether you like someone or not, the problem is the option is being taken away.
Oh, yeah.
The option and that's horrific.
That's
when you think about that, not only
That's
the
scary.
bipartisan where you're only given two options, that's terrible. But it's even worse when you look at they're trying to remove an option from the people in the States. That is messed up. And if you start taking away options and forcing people into a corner, now does civil war really seem like that far-fetched?
Do you think we're there in...
And Americans are all armed.
Sorry?
Sorry, I was saying, do you think we're there in terms of Canada, in Canadian society?
I think right now, I think right now, Canada is more segregated and there's more problems than we've ever had, ever. Diversity and inclusion and equality, these were supposed to be strengths for us right now, and they're being manipulated by politicians for this. This is a problem. This is a major problem. I don't care. I want to be in, I would love to be in a society where everyone gets along, obviously. But right now, this is bad. This is really, really bad what's happening. When you look at the middle class is being destroyed, you look at, again, people, the polarizing effect of people on different sides. We're all divided down here, and that's not a good. You're seeing violence is going up. I know it's car thefts and stuff like that, but violent crimes, theft, assaults, like all these things are on the rise. And you're thinking, why? Why is this happening right now when we're in a spot where we have more option to technology, to healthcare, to, where you can look and investigate things and educate yourself. We have more options to be the better version of ourselves, and no one's using it. As a whole, we're not using it.
Misusing it, in fact. If anything,
misusing it.
Yeah, using that to worsen our behavior, like, just feed into the ego and the bad things that were being done. They used to pickpocket. Now they steal your crypto money from your wallet or what have you. Like, there was no CRA. All these things that we talked about, like CRA fake calls that they steal money from immigrants and stuff like that. Like, I had a first-hand experience. I was at a Rogers store, and this old lady, she was Portuguese, didn't speak English barely, came in with her laptop opened and with cash in hand was trying to give to the Rogers store guy, crying. She's like, police, ask me, police. I'm like, the guy was like, no, it's fake. It's just a virus. Like, don't give money. Because they wanted credit cards. She didn't have credit cards, so she came to the store with cash.
Yeah.
I was just blown away.
Ezra, you had a question?
I did, actually. There has been killings of unarmed black men, right? And or at least proportionally marginalized, right? Disproportionately marginalized. So I wanted to hear your insight and your take into that, and because that's a very, very hot topic and something that's super sensitive.
So I explain. I've been asked this question before, and I explain it this way: you have a scale, right? And on this end, let's say you have a person who's never been in a fight, multiple degrees, wonderful, kind human being, right? And they become a police officer and they're on this, but they've never even remotely had any kind of physical or violent confrontation in their life. On this end, you have someone, let's say, who is former military, trained as a Navy SEAL, right? High level of calm in combat, trained to kill, basically, won't overreact. This would be really good in a violent encounter. Someone who's not going to overreact to something, someone who's going to be able to handle themselves and not necessarily go, say, right to their firearm. So what happens is that if you have an encounter where, and this is where I say the police and the public have to work together. If an officer says, you're under arrest, and you don't agree, and you say, no, I'm not under arrest. Well, now it starts getting into the realm where this officer, who's not used to any kind of physical confrontation, is going to be pushed to here. And if you continually push, and let's say there's violence and resisting arrest and all these things, and the officer gets pushed into a realm that they're not comfortable with, you get bad things happening. You get overreactions. You get unarmed people getting shot. You have people grabbing their gun instead of their taser. You get things that are completely disproportionate to what should have been done. And you don't want also a Navy SEAL out there, because sometimes when, the lack of empathy or just not being able to, and I don't want to generalize, I'm just saying, perhaps not being able to deal with the public in a certain way that needs to be done. So we need a middle ground. where you have someone who's capable of going into to a realm of when things get physical, because thinking that there's no violence out there, that the police are never going to have to use force is ridiculous. You know, there's times you just see an officer got stabbed. You know, officers have been attacked multiple times, and we have a mental health issue in this country that needs to be addressed, and it's on the rise. But you don't want the ends. You want an officer who's in the middle that can do both. And the most important thing to avoid violent encounters is that the person being arrested and the person who's arresting, they respect each other, and they work together to make sure that arrest goes down properly. Because if the person arrests, and how many events have you seen online that the officer has, you know, killed someone, shot someone when they shouldn't have, and it didn't happen out of nowhere. I don't know how many times you see an officer just show up on scene, pull out a gun, and shoot someone. You don't really see that too often. It's always
a resisting arrest.
It's out of something where a bad decision is made because the officer has been pushed into a realm that they are not capable of.
It's always an escalation. It's never like a preemptive. Like you see that it escalates to something usually,
and that's the problem. Is that right now with violence on the rise, you are going to get more violent encounters. Right? We have car thieves right now. But high majority of them are armed. So it seems like it's only a property offense where, it's just a car being stolen. Who cares? Well, yeah, but you see, they're coming into houses now. They're doing home invasions. They get caught. They're throwing guns away. They're holding people at gunpoint and carjacking people.
And why is car theft so, like, what is particularly, I feel partially responsible because I made a car theft movie. And
I know, because it's easy. It's easy right now. And it's very hard where the courts aren't holding them accountable enough. So now you get a slap on the wrist, they're getting released and they're coming right back out and doing it again. This epidemic with car thefts is not a police problem.
No.
It's
a judicial problem.
It's not even a judicial problem. This is a federal, this is an epidemic. This is high level stuff where insurance companies, car companies, and the federal government need to do something about, give us the tools or do something to get in basically upgrading. When you buy a car, you have to have upgraded.
Because you know what they say? They say the cars are being shipped out of the country too. Where are we exporting all these cars?
The place that was in your movie.
Oh yeah, West Africa.
Everywhere.
Same place.
That was.
It's going everywhere, and it's easy right now because the very technology that's made it very, comfortable and very easy and user friendly is the same stuff they're using. They can be in and out and get your car within, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, your car's gone.
They literally took his movie,
literally
word by word. They were like, steal these cars, take them here, okay.
I was 15 years old when I stole my first car. We just watched Gone in 60 Seconds. I got one message for society. If you don't want to encourage crime, stop making movies about it.
The movie was very accurate, and it was ahead of its time because what's happened is
that's right
now.
And actually, Mike played a part of a police officer in that movie as well. Against, who was his co-star?
Paul?
Vivica A. Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's right. She was the star of Kill Bill. She was amazing.
Oh, she was
incredible. Yeah.
What we're saying is, as drivers, we should all get guns.
No.
To protect ourselves. Is that what I got from this conversation?
No.
I love guns.
No, Nav.
I love guns.
Guns don't kill people. I do. I kill people.
Yeah, this needs
not guns.
With comedy.
Mike.
No, but guns are actually. I actually want to know about guns. If you want to have a gun in Canada,
what's the best one, and what can kill fast?
Nav, stop
what
talking.
goes pew hard? What is the hardest pew pew? Huh? Pew pew. What is hardest, fastest pew pew? No back pew. Just front.
You want handgun?
Huh?
No, but handguns, for example.
Bazooka.
Yeah. If one was to apply for handgun and have a handgun at home, how do you go about it? Can you get it legally now?
Well, right now they're trying to push forth a complete ban, right? I see that as a problem
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
Again, well, I'm a little different. Like I have my restricted license. Like I know myself, and I know, again, there's two sides to this, and not everyone's going to agree. Some people say no guns, and that I'm like, okay, no guns for anyone. Yeah, no guns at all. All guns are illegal. Yeah. Guess what? Guess who doesn't care?
The bad guys.
Criminals are still
guns.
going to have guns.
Yeah.
So you want to, not have a way to protect yourself. So I believe in self-defense. I believe in lawful self-defense, right? But I don't.
Actually, one guy just got exonerated from shooting an intruder into his home. Like yesterday was his court, where he was living with his mother, and then an armed intruder, break into his home. He shoots him. The guy dies.
Yeah.
And he got basically, they were like that was self-defense. And he had a license for his armed weapon and all for his weapon and all of that.
Weapon.
If you
That's how much I know about guns.
own and possess a gun, and you train with how to use it, and you aren't mentally ill, and you have a clean, like you're
Like, I feel like those are so much easier to do here, like for Canadians, than it is for people in the States. So in other words, they should make guns legal here more.
And regulated is
Unregulated, yeah, harder, but as opposed, because we're just a better America, I feel like.
Whoa. Yeah.
well,
not so
the
much.
majority,
That's not
the high majority of gun crimes are illegal guns. Obviously, it's not and it seems insane to punish lawful gun owners for what criminals do, and that's foolish. It's literally foolish to the point of I can't even comment. I don't even know what to say to that.
Many years ago when I was young, I would be against what you said. I was all about no guns. No, I don't like guns at all. But right now, I love guns.
Have you?
I wanted to get a gun.
No way.
And they were like, due to your background, you can't.
Yo, actually,
I love it.
really?
Yeah.
So it was regulated, basically.
In terms of like mentally,
Yeah.
Oh,
they're like, nah.
In Canada, from what I understand, in terms of sex trafficking and sex work, selling sex is legal, but buying sex is illegal. However, we also find that most of the people who end up in sex work are coming from families that are broken, who are more vulnerable and are easier to manipulate, so to speak. Isn't that also, doesn't that speak to their mental health? And how do we regulate that?
And again, that is a huge polarizing issue, right? It's people were arguing different, but what are we really arguing? Are we really being supportive? Are we looking at it's talking about, say, they did a study with how many porn stars were molested and sexually assaulted and victims when they were younger. And now there's a direct correlation with your childhood and what happens to you later in life. So now we're supporting that. We're not helping them. We're not looking. We're just saying, okay, yeah, you can sell yourself and you can sell sex and and we're into OnlyFans and all that stuff, but you can do all that. But then we're going to criminalize the person that goes to get
pay
sex.
for that.
So it's almost like you can do what you want, but we're going to take that away. But guess what? It's still going to happen.
It just fucks with me so hard because on one hand in Canada this is being rebranded as women's choice, and then you go to other parts of the world and the very opposite is also being rebranded as women's choice. Like, dress a certain way, don't speak a certain way, and they're like, oh yeah, this is what freedom looks like for women here. And the common denominator is always it's at the expense of the woman. And it's not even, most of the time it's not even women, it's children.
No, but what is happening? I understand that completely. I feel like.
But I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask, how can we identify predatory behavior or traffickers in your experience that you've, worked with, for lack of a better word, in everyday situations that people would not be aware of?
So one of the things, because we know that it's not really happening. Like there are incidents where it's happened where you have the snatch van, right? You have the van come up, they grab someone. It can happen, right? We have to, number one, and we can harp on this, is provide a stable home life for a child. Address mental health issues with the child early, not just head in the sand. Address it early. Be involved in a child's life. Make sure that you show your child how much you love them. All these things, and what do they all have in common? They're all preemptive. They're all proactive.
Preventative.
What the question you're asking, how do we identify the predator? If you've done your job, then your child will identify the predator and stay away from it. If you haven't done your job, they're going to be vulnerable to it. And that is the issue. And that is it. And it's unfortunately, it is something that has to be done from the time the child is born, is protect them. And we're not protecting our children. So that's why they target the buyer, like for sex. That's why they target the buyer, and not because going after the person that's the vulnerable one. What are we doing? What, you're going to charge them, or you're going to put them in jail for what?
That makes sense.
Like, why not help them? Why not help them? So if you catch in that scenario, I agree. The person that's buying the sex, yeah, they should be slapped with charges. Absolutely, 1,000%. The person who's actually selling it, they need support. They need to be given resources. Like, we have tons of resources that we can offer to people who are to even if they've committed a crime. Police services are working with their communities like crazy. You don't really hear about it. All you hear is the bad. And again, I will give this to all the audience who are watching, is that when you hear something bad, educate yourself a little bit on it. Go out, read up on it, and look into your police services and the programs that are happening before
making a decision.
Judgment.
Yeah, pass.
And remember, most importantly, I sound like I'm doing like a commercial here. Like, I think we're making fun of the RoboCop. Like, stay out of trouble. No, like, remember that police officers are humans, and for police officers, remember that someone who has committed a crime, they're human too. Like, and if we can remember that, we're doing better. Like, we're doing a lot better.
May I ask a question? You said our audience should read to educate themselves, right? But most of our audience can't even read. So watch some films. But a few questions. You said sex buyer should be slapped on the wrist.
No, they should be charged.
Charged. Okay,
Nah,
but
just literally.
but
There's one single bead of sweat coming down his forehead.
but
Good.
like certain folks, you know what I mean? Like a friend of mine.
Why are you pointing at?
How's
His left eye twitched. I took forensic interviewing, right? So I'm watching him picking apart.
how is the person supposed to no,
And it's
have sex?
and
Where
it's
does it
startling.
it's okay. Let me just move on to this other thing. So you talk about children, their growth is being retarded.
No, and you can't say the R word.
It's being
No, I think in this case it's grammatically correct. He's saying it's being stunted.
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 Yeah.
Yeah. No, it
their
is.
growth is being
The growth is being stunted
Yeah.
at a huge level, and you see it. And that's where you get the victim culture, is that it's always someone else's fault. That's something that I've always gone through, and a premise that I try to run my life. I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form.
you look
failed
perfect.
Is that if there's something wrong, like, be part of the solution. Don't just say that, oh, we have to do this, or you have to do this. You see all these protests and things that are saying someone has to do this, and you have to do this, and this, and this. What are you doing? And that's one of the biggest things. If you hate police so much, educate yourself. Come join the service. Be part of the solution. Be the positivity when you're in there. Don't just sit here and yell at the police and tell them how much they suck, right? Like,
That's right.
go be a police officer and be the difference.
He can't have a gun. Can he still join the police?
No.
As a man who is not an inspiration to anybody, how do you feel right now?
Feel hungry.
Still hungry? Yeah.
I feel
Starving.
starving. I feel like my stomach is growling.
We could remedy that. I have some fun food for you guys today.
Nice.
Let's bring out the food.
Let's do it.
Wee.
Woo! Welcome to the food segment. Are you gonna give me a wah?
Actually, don't touch it yet, because
Okay.
it's just freaking me out.
Yeah.
You ever see in the horror movies?
Yeah.
Someone
be
like,
brain.
and there's a head or brain, right? So if you're feeding me brain, I'll try it, but I'm not happy with
I
it.
think no Indiana Jones for you. Just 'cause
Yeah.
I'm
monkey
Indian
brain.
doesn't mean I'm giving you monkey brains.
Have you had animal brain before?
No.
I have.
I have.
Have you had
Oh,
great?
it's Persian. Persian.
It is Persian dish, yeah. They have sheep skull. They cook it. They cook it. They cook the skull of sheep.
The eyes.
Yeah, the
Eyes are
eyes,
great.
tongue, all of it.
I get.
And this coming from a cop who's saying the worst.
No, I'd be
He's like, that's where I
Okay,
draw the line.
here's
I'd be 120
Calipas.
pounds.
Nav, I love you. Sorry, but please stop talking.
No, go hard, daddy.
All right.
So today we have
3, 2, 1.
What the fuck?
Ave Maria. What is this?
No Mon Padre. This
What an anticlimactic
called
Orange.
reveal.
hortobagi,
Hortobagi.
Ortobagi.
palacinta.
Placenta?
Hortobagi,
Let's try again.
Ortobagi placenta?
No, for real.
pretty much.
Hortobagi placenta?
These are essentially Hungarian stuffed crepes,
Oh.
and
Stuffed
you can probably tell by the smell that it's not sweet.
I can't smell it.
Okay.
Mike,
it
can
like
you push the
lasagna?
smell over here for?
Is it like
try
lasagna?
it,
It's
try it.
meat.
my
Oh, it's
God,
meat.
That looks good.
That looks good. It's a lot of meat. Smells like
So it's full of sheep brain.
if it's no, actually.
Well, apparently I like sheep brain.
Yay! We have a
Oh,
con.
that's delicious.
That's actually good. That's not bad. So, what's the ingredients?
Who knows, man?
Um.
Sorry. It's meat, which is sauteed with onions and paprika and tomatoes and sour cream to form a stew.
Oh,
The sauce is drained from the meat before it's wrapped in the crepes. Then flour and sour cream are whisked into the remaining sauce, poured over the filled crepes, and baked until bubbly.
my God.
Thank you,
Wow.
Hungary.
So, Hungarian food, right?
That's-
Which part of Hungary this is from?
I got it from a restaurant called Budapest Restaurant. I don't know if it originates in Budapest, but
Budapest. Is it Budapest or Budapest?
Budapest.
Budapest?
Budapest.
You just made it out. Make
No,
that
it's
up. didn't
Budapest. It's Budapest.
You have no clue what you're saying.
It's Budapest. Trust me. I know my
I'm not gonna trust you. Not even one bit.
I know my biology. Trust me.
How do you like the food? Did you try it?
Yeah, I did.
How do you like it?
Very, very good. Very nice.
Delicious.
so apparently there's a place in Hungary, there's a village called Hortobagi, and this is not from there,
Cheese in it too.
ironically.
What?
It's not.
You're just saying things that have nothing to do with anything, right?
Is that why like French fries aren't from France?
Oh,
I don't know if that's the reason they're not from there, but yeah,
they're not?
Well, where was pizza invented?
Italy.
by an Italian guy. No, it's in U.S., but by an Italian guy.
No, it was
What is happening right now?
Australia.
You guys are killing me
That's your-
today.
No, that's your homework. Look where pizza was invented. I'm not going to tell you the answer. I'm just going to say, look at where it will blow your mind.
Lebanon.
It says
You got
Naples.
it.
It says Naples.
Okay.
This was very great. So to the Hungarian people, how do you say, do you know Hungarian? You don't speak. Do you know Hungarian?
What do you want to say?
Hi.
Hi? Shalom.
No.
Okay. Maybe we should ask someone else. Yeah, what was it?
I was going to say to the Hungarian people, thanks
Gracias.
for this.
Did it sponsor?
Gracias. It- Thanks for this great food. You're really awesome. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of a Persian lasagna.
Okay.
No. No, I'm Persian. I know Persian lasagna.
No.
And no.
It was the taste was very. It's not an acquired taste necessarily. It's an acquired look.
If you're going to be this segment, like this part is great. I think there's something you should read called mindful eating.
Oh, I do know that.
And if you look into mindful eating on how to actually enjoy, savor, and respect your food, it'll make it taste better. I'm telling you right now, mindful eating.
Mindful eating.
I'm not going to do it here because I'll look weird when I do it.
Please do.
No, do it.
No, I'm not
Can
gonna
you?
do it. No,
Please,
Please do it.
please.
No.
We don't know how to do it, and we got to do it. I'm not
can
going to
do
leave
it.
it for the next
We need a
episode. I'm going to
model.
forget.
You want me to do it?
No, please, please.
You want me to do it?
Teach. Do you know how to do
I know
it?
what he's talking about.
He doesn't. You have done mindful.
You're the opposite of mindful eating.
Here's mindful eating.
He nailed it. He got it. It's exactly what I was talking about.
The Stoics wrote about this.
Yeah, this was Marcus Aurelius. This
Marcus
is his
Aurelius.
vision right now. Yeah.
I'm sorry, gods of Greeks.
How would you rate this out of 10?
I rated 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10. And one I'm gonna leave because I didn't like the look. Very.
Yeah.
To be fair, I go out of my way to
Like
look for
honest.
stuff that does not look appetizing.
Those are generally the things that taste the best, though.
What did I rate the Butterwurst?
That was a different food.
What did I rate it?
Just letting you have your moment. 12 out of 10.
12. I rated 12. This is 9.5.
Say 13. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
And how do you do mindful eating?
So first of all, take some onto your.
Okay.
Not a lot. Like
Like a bit.
yeah, like a
Like one bite.
forkful. Yeah,
Okay.
one bite.
Something that is camera friendly as well.
Yep.
Okay. This is
Okay. Now this second step can be avoided if something doesn't smell good but tastes good. So for this one, we'll skip that part. You can smell it because it smells good.
Yeah.
so I eat it because he closed his eyes.
So part of
That was dumb.
Just listen to the instructions.
Yeah, part of mindful is not talking while you're actually doing it. Okay, so
Gonna be tough.
put it in. There you go. Take the fork out, right? Close your eyes, and just the taste on your tongue. Okay. Now here's the thing: if you are going to chew it, chew with your mouth open, because it oxygenates the food, and it actually tastes better.
I don't think you could meditate through eating.
You can
as well.
meditate through everything.
No, definitely.
Everything, yeah.
Eating is very important. Okay, here's the thing. You are what you eat, basically, right? You eat the fuel. Food is fuel. Fuel. And the poo-poo.
Whoa. What?
You were going somewhere really good, and then you threw yourself off the cliff.
It's like he's trying to explain it to like
He's not used to it.
like a
When
3-year-old.
we all
It's
pay
like,
attention
yeah.
to him, that's when he gets
I was
3-year-old
not-
who barely speaks any
I was not expecting everyone to actually listen. Yeah, I didn't know where I was going.
That was used to neglect. You know those children we talked about
Yeah.
who require more
his
attention?
parents.
Yeah, he was one of them.
Thank
and
you
I
very
would like to say a huge thank you to our guest, Mr. Michael Summer. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time.
Thank you,
I
sir.
personally would love to have you again on the podcast. This was so informational.
100%.
Moving. As you know, I was crying for a lot of it. And how would you rate our food?
Oh, I loved it. I'm giving it 7.5
Amazing. Do we know why we're missing the 2.5? This is just like the Indian student in me.
because it looks like gross.
That's
Um, and it tastes very similar to something that tastes better. I can only give that. It's very delicious. It's very delicious. I've tasted something very similar that's better. That's the only, but 7.5 is like
It's pretty good.
That's amazing.
Straight out of Hollywood.
Straight out of Hollywood.
What did you rate it?
9.5, man.
Oh, you already
Pay
rated.
attention. All right.
That's good. You know how I want to end this episode right now? Usually I just walk off. And
Doesn't have
because
to
it's
stop.
annoying. But can we show his height? Like stand
that
up?
possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's stand up and say goodbye to Mike standing up.
I'm 5 feet. I'm 5 feet.
thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having
much.
coming on the podcast. You're awesome.
That's time to everyone. Give me all the music, even if you're tired. I'll make you dance, I'll make you make sense. Now you're feeling brave, you stupid cunt. Thank you for the service. Alright.